Okay, members, the witness has just arrived. Good morning, Mr. Opa Brown Mogotsi. You can press on your mic.
Good morning, honorable members.
Do you have anyone in your company or you are just alone?
I'm with the arranged protection and the evidence leaders.
Okay. Advocate Aaron says, can you formally present the witness to the committee?
Good morning, Honorable Acting Chair and honorable members and all present and my colleagues. Firstly, apologies for the delay with the printing this morning. We've had to secure some outside printers because of the last minute issues, but hopefully that's behind us. And as I said yesterday already, we asked for an indulgence and an apology. Mr. Opa Brown Mogotsi is present here today. We welcome him. It's been a lot of toing and froing, but thankfully he is here. So I would submit, Honorable Chair, that you may swear him in. His evidence will be led by my colleague, Advocate Mogotsi. It's on my right. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mr. Mogotsi, let's now formally administer your oath. You have been invited to appear before the Adhoc committee to investigate the allegations by General Mkhandla to provide information in relation to the Adhoc committee's oversight to investigate properly the allegations made by Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi, which include, amongst others, the alleged unlawful disbandment of the political killings task team, alleged moratorium on the filling of vacancies within the South African Police Service, an alleged corrupt relationship between senior leadership within SAPS and members of the public, as well as political interference in the work of SAPS. In extending this invitation, the Adhoc committee chairperson has indicated that you may provide such information to the committee if you so wish, under oath in terms of the powers, privileges, and immunities of Parliament and Provincial Legislatures Act. Please be informed that by law you are required to answer fully and satisfactorily all the questions lawfully put to you, or to produce any document that you have required to produce in connection with the subject matter of the inquiry, notwithstanding the fact that the answer or the document could incriminate you or expose you to criminal or civil proceedings or damages. You are, however, protected in that evidence given under oath or affirmation before a house or committee may not be used against you in any court or place outside Parliament, except in criminal proceedings concerning a charge of perjury or a charge relating to evidence or documents required in the proceedings. Please be aware that in terms of Section 17, subsection 2 of the Powers, Privileges, and Immunities of Parliament and Provincial Legislatures Act, a person who willfully furnishes a house or committee with information or makes a statement before it, which is false or misleading, commits an offense and is liable to a fine or to imprisonment for a period of not exceeding 2 years. You are required to take an oath or affirm that the evidence you are about to give is truthful. You may choose to take the oath of affirmation. Which one would you prefer? Oath or affirmation?
Oath.
Okay. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, you'll state your full
Opa
name,
Brown Mogotsi,
swear that the evidence I shall give
swear that the evidence that I shall give
shall be the truth,
shall be the truth,
the whole truth,
and
nothing but the truth.
nothing but the truth.
So help me.
So help me God.
Thank you so much. Members, the witness has been officially administered under oath. So we're going to give the evidence leaders to proceed. We know in the committee meeting that we had yesterday, there was an commitment to have proper and satisfactory time for members to ask questions to the witness. So we'll allow the evidence leaders to run until 1, and then we take a 30 minutes break. Then we resume at 1:30 and allow the evidence leaders to proceed until 15 hours. Then from the members will start interacting with the witness. Is that in order, members? Thank you so much. Honorable Advocate Maria, you can now start. Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
the best, Mr. Mogotsi. All the best, Advocate Mogotsi. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, Mr. Mogotsi, and good morning, honorable members. Just as a matter of housekeeping, Chair, I just want to make sure that members have all the bundles in front of them. So members should have 3 bundles, which would be the witness statement, and then there's an exhibit bundle, which is the one with the white binding, and then there should be an annexure bundle. Sorry, so the annexure bundle is the one with the black binding, and the exhibit bundle is the one with the white binding, and then there's the witness statement itself.
Can members confirm if they do have those annexures? Okay, thank you. You can proceed.
Also, just to note that members would have, or the statement in front of the members is an unsigned version, but Mr. Mogotsi has signed his statement, and we have the signed copy available here with us.
Okay, Mr. Mogotsi, can you confirm that the statement that has been signed with the evidence leaders is a reflection of what you are here to?
Indeed, Chairperson, the statement has been signed. It is the reflection of what has been submitted.
Thank you so much. You can proceed.
Going to talk. The names that should not be. Give the chair the copy which of the name. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Just to confirm that we've had a number of consultations with Mr. Mogotsi. Most of them were virtually. Last night we managed to have a in-person consultation where we confirmed the contents of the statement. And so just as a matter of process, Mr. Mogotsi, I'm just going to carefully lead you through your statement, and I might invite some questions. As we proceed, members might also ask you questions for clarity. We're going to start off with your qualifications, which you referred to in your statement, which is on page 3. Are you there?
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay, so you've noted in your statement that you do not have any formal qualifications and that you are currently an entrepreneur.
That's
Is there anything that you'd like to add to what is stated in your statement, or do you want to explain what your current position is?
Yeah, no, I'm still doing the same business. As it's written here, I'm not just sure if the evidence leader is also referring to the entire part where it talks of, an entrepreneur, but it also goes over the years I've been involved in crime intelligence. Should I only speak to, that this is what I'm doing, I'm a small businessman? Or should I also, does your question include the part of crime intelligence? Or it includes the whole paragraph? That's what I'm saying.
When I make reference to a particular section of your paragraph, and as I try to lead you through it, please feel free to elaborate on anything in relation to that, to your qualifications and your current experience and your current job that you have, or your current position that you occupy.
Okay. As a businessman, I'm running a few businesses, including food production in terms of beef and so forth. But going to the crime intelligence, as you say, any position, I have since became an informant of the crime intelligence back in the 1990s, 1999. The West, oh. And I also became a member
Mr.
of the
Mogotsi, I think you must drag your chair towards the mic.
Oh,
You are sitting too far, that's why you are far from the mic.
okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Yes, I think so far it is written, this is the status where I am now.
So you say over the years you've been involved in crime intelligence as an informant and you worked as a crime intelligence agent. Are you currently still a crime intelligence agent?
That's correct.
How long have you been a crime intelligence agent?
By virtue of becoming a contact agent, perhaps I should say, as an informant, I became an informant for particular years, and you now ask about an agent that was in 2009. That's when I became an agent.
Okay, so you deal with some of it in your statement, and this is in your background where you explain from, I think, believe it's in paragraph 13 onwards. But what is not apparent from your explanation provided is exactly when you were registered and how you say during 2009 I was registered and acted as an agent for crime intelligence in the police services. Can you just elaborate on that? And the reason why I asked that is that you would note, and this was also referred to you in the Madlanga Commission, where affidavits were produced to you by individuals that said that you were not in crime intelligence. So maybe could you just explain why they would say that and take us through your registration process?
Well, thank you so much. As an informant, that was in 2001. And then I did some operations as an informant. From 2001, 2003, I got deregistered as I was no more active. But when I became an agent is when I was recruited, because that's now the difference between an informant and a contact agent. You then recruited, that's how I got recruited, given some small tasks and information that I used to provide. They will say, go back, they give me a file to note, submit, and so forth. And now, the only difference here is that a contact agent will not be having any identity of some sort. You will only work with your handler, he'll give you the task, you report back to him, and so forth. And in relation to the affidavits that you are referring to, that were brought to Madlanga. They were not ventilated in Madlanga. However, I think I have the opportunity to speak to that now. I don't know if I should refer members, chairperson, to the affidavit evidence leaders referring to.
Yes, it's annexure BM2 of your annexure bundle. BM2, and it starts on page 5 to page 9. Those are the two affidavits from members who are part of crime intelligence who say that you were not registered as a crime intelligence member.
That's correct. Yeah, the affidavit, I know the name of the colonel who wrote this affidavit. He was in the admin support staff of South African Police Service. And if you can check on his affidavit, he only became the acting head of agents program in 2024. Definitely would not know me. Even if he can be asked of 3-4 different contacts, he will not know them. And this is supported by, in his affidavit, if you check it on page 5, paragraph, I am police officer. The next one, Mr. Brown Mogotsi with identity has never been in our program. However, if we go to the next affidavit, there is another affidavit on page 8 from the same crime intelligence, paragraph 5, going down. He say the ID number belonging to Mr. Brown Mogotsi was tested against the CI database. The ID number is registered in the CAPFIN, and the source was handled by and co-handled by, and the particular amount of money was given. Now, those are two contradictory affidavits coming from the same division of crime intelligence. It is only perhaps a submission of this particular handlers and co-handlers who I mentioned here, who will be able to attest of my registration.
So in paragraph 15 of your statement, you say that the individuals who deposed to these affidavits are newly appointed at crime intelligence and they've been asked to fabricate the facts stated in the affidavits in order to discredit you. I'd just like to go back to one of those statements, and it's the last one you just read. The second individual who deposed to the statement have been in crime intelligence since 2015. So that doesn't seem to be a new member in crime intelligence. On page 7, it's stated, I'm stationed at the Secret Service Account Division Crime Intelligence since 2015. That goes against what you said in your statement.
Page 8.
Page 7.
That's correct.
So this is not somebody new.
I don't see the difference now.
Page
this is the second affidavit, yes.
Page 7.
Yes, and what is the question, Ms. Now?
My question is, I read out paragraph 15 of your statement where you said these individuals are newly appointed.
That's correct.
You read the first statement that said the person was appointed in 2024. The second individual says that he's been at crime intelligence since 2015.
That's correct.
So that is not a newly appointed person. Do you agree?
Yeah, but being appointed in that division in 2015 may have interacted with my other projects and assignments between those years till 2021, I believe.
What does that mean?
I'm saying if a person was appointed in 2015, and when I became a contact in 2009, He may have interacted with my assignments, that particular person. Unlike the one who got appointed in 2024 and say he does not know me. Obviously, there's no way he could know me. And
So
I'm saying in this affidavit, if you check to Fabrication, when talking about fabrication, the particular colonel was appointed by Lieutenant General Lushawa in the finance section. This person, the same one in 2024, who says I'm not appearing on the system, whereas there is one that says with a captain number and so forth. This one who was appointed in 2014 was actually appointed by Lieutenant Lushawa in 2024, recently, to act.
Okay, so let's go to what the second person says about your registration in 2009. So the second individual on page 8 of his statement says that the source was registered in 2001 on the 9th of January, I believe, at Soweto cluster, and in the same, the source was deregistered also in 2001.
That's correct.
So this person suggests that you've only been in crime intelligence for a couple of months. And then it says the handlers requested an amount of 1,200 for recruitment fee to motivate the contact. According to our report, there are no other financial transactions related to the source for the period he was active in our system. So he says you've only been active for a couple of months in 2001.
Yes, that's correct. That's what he's saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. You see, now here, if you check it properly, he's talking about I was registered as an informant. Now, those are two things. Yeah, he's referring to me when I was informant, but the time when I became a contact agent, the registration is not done the same way as this one. It is done manually, and the file is kept by your handler, and everything, all your transactions, how you get reimbursed or assisted or paid, is done through cash from your handler all the time. So an informant and a contact agent are not processed the same way.
So why is that explanation not in your statement? Why do we only have that these people have been asked to fabricate and that they are newly appointed? Because it seems to, what you're saying is that even if they've been in crime intelligence for however many years, they would not have been able to trace you on the system. But that explanation is not what you've given in your statement.
Chairperson, maybe I should give background about this process. The way informants and agents are eliminated, I'm not the only one who got registered and deregistered in a very short period of time. It's when your life gets into danger, when your handler decides to register you in a manner which won't be visible in the system. Because if you see part of my statement, I'm talking of an informant who was murdered simply because they could not trace the informant. They did not have his contact details. They had to get one brigadier to go with a handler to meet the informant and give him that 50,000 rand. That informant is not on the system, but look, his payment was processed. I'm trying to say, depending on the work and operation you do, it's not that everyone will appear on a particular a database. And these databases, if you look at them, they are referring to two different things. On this registration, they are talking about an informant. On the first affidavit, is talking about being an SSA Central Informant Index. He's talking about an undercover agent on this affidavit. Baron Mogotsi ID being in our program as undercover project. He says he has never been an agent, has never been in our program as an undercover agent. Now, A contact agent and undercover agents are two different people. Undercover agent are police. And you'll be surprised, they don't get paid through the bank themselves. They don't have personal numbers, but they are police. So he's referring to this. That's why I'm saying wherever he is, he does not know the difference.
And so what were you? What was your position?
In a contact agent,
A contact agent,
That's
which is different to an undercover agent.
very different in the context that the undercover agents are usually police officers.
If all of this, like I've indicated, if your explanation is you would have been missed because of how the registration is done, why are you saying in your statement that these individuals were instructed by General Kumalo and General Shaba to fabricate facts about you?
I'll speak shortly about General Lushaba. It's in the statement when he had a female friend to his house. In the morning, they stayed together. In the morning, the cell phone and the laptops were gone. In realizing that the phones and the state properties are not there, he went and opened a case of housebreaking. In that case, just to correct something, Chair, it's written Broad Lane. It was actually in Varelay. It was registered in Varelay. The particular case, the lady could not be found. And then this Major General Lushaba, I don't know how this information leaked because the officer of the crime intelligence who was assisting in compiling and gathering information that this is actually not a housebreaking but perjury. This Major General lied. He ended up being sidelined and being fired. It's because there was never a case. Now, General Lushaba knows me how you should now check. The case was open here in Cape Town against Major General Lushaba.
Mr. Mogotsi, you deal with that extensively in your statement, and I want you to take us carefully through that when we reach that. But I don't want it to get mixed up with your explanation as to why you say General Lushaba and Lieutenant General and General Kumalo fabricated facts about you. Can we deal with that aspect first?
Yes, I'm saying the reason, that's how the only way he could do is to get someone to say he doesn't know me, because part of this investigation led to him knowing that we realized that this was not a housebreaking. And how does Lieutenant General Kumalo comes in? I'm saying that because he's the head, he's a divisional head of crime intelligence. It's amazing, it's surprising. Even one of the journalists asked me, how can a lieutenant general, a divisional commissioner does not know you, whereas you claim to be whatever? I'm saying he had to deal with Major General Lushaba to ensure that they discredit me. They even say they don't even know about me. That's where the fabrication come from.
Let's maybe turn to BM1 of your annexure bundle, just page 1. And that is an affidavit that you deposed to. Could you explain to us what that purpose of the affidavit was?
Yes, firstly, Chair, on the page I've requested, I'll repeat the request. There are names of officers mentioned there, and I've requested that as I'll be talking about that, I will request not to mention their names.
Is it the reason why the names have been circled in the annexure bundle?
That's correct. In fact, the agreement was they're going to be somehow detected. Now, on the circling is probably the evidence leader directing the person who was doing that work, and the person could not tie those names correctly. But that's the reason. That's those names that are circled should not be mentioned.
Okay, Advocate Mary?
Yes, Chair, just for clarity, we were trying to redact the names, but it seems the printers made a mistake. But Mr. Mogotsi has confirmed that if it stays in the house, it would be fine to make it available in the way that it's that
Otherwise,
currently
there
is.
generally consensus between you and the witness
Yeah.
on the usage of this information.
Yes.
Okay, Honorable Malema.
No, thanks, Chair. I think we're moving a bit fast because I thought we're still at the introduction level where there are three issues that have not been answered. The first one is why is Mr. Mogotsi calling himself an entrepreneur? I want to understand that because it can't just be a concept loosely thrown around. Secondly, what is an informant? Under which department does an informant fall under? And what is the agent? Under which department does it fall under? And between the informant and the agent, which one has got, not PESAL, some false number that we're able to account through that number that we're paying this particular agent? Because that clarity is not coming out. And I think we need to get that clarity. So we know we're dealing with entrepreneur, for real if he is, informant if he is, agent if he is. Thanks, Jim.
Thank you, Honorable Malema. I think the first issue is the issue of the names. I think if there is that consensus that the usage of the names must be avoided with all possibilities necessary. You will also, Mr. Mogotsi, I was also tempted on Malema to enter on the issue of the informant, the contact agent, and the undercover agent. So I think you must also give us the significant difference between the three, and also enter on, because as you introduce yourself in your own statement, you say, I'm an entrepreneur. So maybe you can walk with us through that. You can proceed, SC. Let's allow him to first deal with this matter, then we'll come to you, Honorable Skosan.
Oh, thank you, Chair. The question of an entrepreneur, it may be understood, in a different way. I only call myself an entrepreneur because I'm selling. I have a small business, and sometimes we do application for entrepreneur development program with CEDA. We make application, and that's how I put it that I'm an entrepreneur. Probably Honorable Malema and other people will be able to say no, because you are selling on a small scale, you are there for this particular thing. I may not be able to give it in a proper way in which it's understood, but I just call myself a small business and entrepreneur. To me, they sound the same. The question of informant, Chairperson.
Now, before you go there, you are saying you are selling. What are you selling where?
Or through Chairperson. I have some liquor outlets. I also distribute meat, manufacturer wars, and all these things to different, like your funerals, weddings, and so forth. Most importantly, I do a lot of catering, food to events and so forth. And none of them comes from government, by the way. It's only private business. I'm dealing with private businesses.
So you have an abattoir?
No, I have not abattoir. I buy from the abattoir.
Okay.
That's correct.
You can proceed on the significant difference
informant,
between the informant, conduct agent, and the undercover agent.
Thank you, Chair, that you say I should perhaps give it in a proper way of explanation. I give example, if three people goes and steal somewhere and one get arrested, the two runs away. This particular one makes the deal with the police and tell them, after stealing here, we are planning to steal even next door. But that information that you provide to the police, that moment, the police may decide that this become our informant, They go there and trace, and if a crime takes place and they manage to arrest these people, this person is immediately declared an informant. I'll give another way is that an informant will be this particular person, can even come from here in Parliament, working here. If there's anything going on that is not correct, the moment he gives that information at that time, he becomes an informant. So in many cases, the police officer, especially in the detective section, they will realize this boy is always in town. He knows people who are selling maybe drugs or something, and they feel we can work with him, he can give us information as and when, then they make him an informant. Let's move to the agent. Contact agent then now will not appear in any, this is having a relationship with the handler. This particular handler will bring assignment, will tell him there is this information, can you work on this? Now, the moment you are registered by a particular crime intelligence officer, then you start identifying in ranks, in maybe in government department, any institution, those particular individuals that you identify to work with you, they become your informant. You start having a network of informants again that gives information and you give to your handler. And this, for example, the informant does not have a file. He say, police, tomorrow they are breaking, they come. He does not possess any file, but the contact now, there is a file where he writes, you get the assignment. This handler will go to his commanders and whoever and make arrangement and talk to them, get you permission and say, yes, we can do that. There's a CIT that's going to take place, mang, they're involved. You tell the agent, you tell the handler will then organize, for example, inform the police of that particular place before the CIT can take place. That's when the police will act. Now, in that sense, I don't know if I'm understood, Chairperson. I was going to give an example in a way of this particular, the BM1, this affidavit that is written here. This affidavit, it came from a source. This particular source made me meet with one colonel. And this colonel was aware of a disciplinary hearing to take place. And this colonel was one of the witnesses. He was called to KZN and be given a mandate how to fabricate stories to favor the employer to get this particular general expert. Now, in that sense, I had to speak to my handler, and the handler arranged the DPCI. We requested a permission to conduct a particular section called the Section 252A, where you request in advance to trap, conduct an operation, and I recorded this particular colonel. This colonel gave information on the plot, how they are going to dismiss the particular general between the two generals from KZN and the presiding. When we get to the statement, I believe that will be ventilated to the latter. But I'm saying, after recording this particular colonel, we were able to dispose an affidavit. A case was opened by the DPCI, and the investigating officer took the matter, the Colonel Schnell, and I don't know how far is the case and so forth. And to be precise, the same recording, it is this affidavit, which was used in Madlanga, Chairperson, where I was told, you are a liar, you are a professional liar, and so forth. This is the same one. It is because the same police officer couldn't trust me enough. I had to give him impression that when you give me this information, in return, you'll get perhaps a promotion, you'll get whatever. I'm working with the Minister of Police, don't worry, this will be handled. And indeed, he cooperated, managed to record him, and the audio is there and the transcript are available for the members to look at. Now, most significantly out of this, from Madlanga, after being called a liar, the same recording was used to charge this police officer. He was served with the document to appear before disciplinary hearing. I'm trying to show you that as an agent, an informant could not apply for 252A. But an agent can talk to the handler and request the 252A, which was granted, and that's the difference between the chapters.
Chair, just to go back to my question, and I think Mr. Mogotsi touched on BM1. Could you just explain what the purpose of this affidavit was? Who did it go to after you deposed to it?
Okay, it went to Lieutenant Colonel Schnell from the DPCI. In fact, he is on page 4 where he signed and administered that. I spoke about this affidavit. The names I'm referring to are not those that I'm mentioning now. This colonel was called in KZN by the employer rep that time was Major General Kumalo, who told him how to fabricate the story. And he did mention that General Mogotsi knew about this, and General Mogotsi is going to preside over this matter, and Lieutenant General Kumalo also knows. That's the recording I have on the transcript. And we took this to DPCI, and the case was open.
Yes.
Now I'm trying to show you that as an agent, you are able to conduct an operation which can be registered with the DPCI or any department and so forth.
So I'm still trying to clarify the purpose of this affidavit, and I'll explain why. Are you saying that this affidavit was deposed to it in your capacity as contact agent in order to get an operation authorized?
That's correct.
And in paragraph 1 of this affidavit that you deposed to, you described yourself as a male employed in government with the minister, with the office of the minister. Is that the title you carry as contact agent?
Or you will not carry the one title. Maybe an agent now, there comes another important thing. One is subjected to something called the legend building. Legend building is an instrument that is utilized all over the world by international crime intelligence services. Now, as a legend builder, you create any false life to attain, provided your handler knows of the operation. You see, I said, if I did not say to this man, I'm with the Minister of Police, there was no need for him to trust me and give me that information. But by the virtue that I promised him with this one, you'll also be, I'll try, because he wanted a promotion. I promised him, and this was done and explained in my affidavit what he wanted. And it also matches with what reflects on the transcript records, on the recording.
So who approves the 25A?
Lieutenant Colonel Schnell.
Advocate Maria, can we stay on BM1?
It is BM1.
Paragraph 1.
Yeah.
There is an ID number reflected there. The witness must confirm if that is his ID number.
That's
There's
correct.
a cell phone contact there. I think he must also confirm that.
That's correct. I wish just to give explanation, because this also raised concern in Madlanga. This is my ID number. This is the current ID number that I'm going to carry for my life, unless with my application that I did to the 212 at the Home Affairs, they are able to rectify the ID, my date of death. Now, that is why in Madlanga they said, you were 13 years, you were 79, and it's in the statement. I'm trying to clarify it, that When I applied for ID, the ID number came out incorrect. And there's no way I can say, I don't want this ID number. I cannot use this ID number. It's there, is my ID number. In everything that I do, this is my ID number. And when you cannot put a wrong ID number because you're a legend builder. You are using a legend building or whatever thing. You have to produce the ID. The Commissioner of Oath must look at your ID and fill it. Yes, indeed, this is the ID number that I have. And Chairperson, for information, even where I come from, there is one guy younger than me. His ID was incorrectly typed in Home Affairs, written 1951. Today he's getting pension because of the problem at the Home Affairs. So it's unfortunate that when this affidavit and the 252A was operationalized, the state was able to use it to charge this police. But now, in Madlanga, they felt I lied, and therefore I'm a professional liar. Whereas it was being utilized to attain the state objective in terms of charging the police.
Okay. Positive evidence later. Honorable Scosa.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to make a follow-up question on this for me to be clear, and I think members to be clear. Because paragraph 1 on the BM1 and paragraph 6, my question to him, just for us to be clear, who are we facing here? The witness says that he's employed in the government within the office of the Minister of with the minister's office. My question is, which minister are you working with?
I'm not working with any minister. I said this is part of operation of legend building where I used false life to attain the objective.
So are you giving us a signed affidavit which is false?
This is a copy of the affidavit that was submitted.
Oh, sorry, Mr. Mogotsi. I think Honorable Skosana, this one is an annexure. BM1, it's different from the statement.
Yes, I understand that.
Okay.
Yes, but that's what I'm saying, that I want us to be clear on this. Whether we consider it, because it's signed. So you can't say to us that he's employed in the minister's office, even on this BM1. Otherwise, it's misleading us.
Okay. That's taken. I think also the evidence leader was proceeding in that note as well. Yes. So I think you can proceed, evidence leader. Mr. Mogotsi will reply as to how you guide him.
Yeah, just to add on what Honorable Skosana has asked about the reference to being employed in the office of the minister and the lack of understanding of where this affidavit was going and the exact purpose of it. Because if one looks at BM3, where Colonel Schnell now refers to this BM, also refers, or rather, not referring to the statement, but refers to you as the complainant and refers to you as somebody who is the politician who has been deployed to the office of Minister Mkunu, and he's saying the basis on which he is making the application, not you. From his statement, it looks like he's the one that's making the application, and he's referring to you as the complainant, and he says that you are a politician deployed to the office of the minister, which is what you describe yourself as in your statement in BM1. So I'm trying to understand, were you deposing BM1 as a complainant to be used by somebody who is actually an intelligence officer to then apply for a 25A, or were you the intelligence officer that was applying for 25A? Because if you read now, and also just to add to that before you answer, he says in paragraph 7 on page 12, that I will be applying for a Section 25A authority for the operation to take place. So it clearly seems to be that you were just the complainant.
Thank you, Chairperson. If for one to apply for this 252A, is for trapping and all those things done by the DPCI. As an officer in the DPCI, he has to fill in the form. And I cannot go to the DPCI officer and say, my brother, I'm an agent. I'm going to lie to this man that he is going to get a promotion and this is, there's no way you can do that. You come to him and say, yes, we're employed. This man wants to give evidence. I'm with, you can see there's another person I was with, is also a colonel. But, and then he's relying on me if I can help him with whatever that he wants. Then he will give us the information that he's talking about. Now, I cannot, the 252A, including the 205 application, the JFE, all these legal documents can only be applied for in this case by the police. And this one in the DPCI, because that's where they are administering the traps, including when you want to trap someone, you obtain money from them and they fill in the form to get that thing. If you check and read it, he had to get authority that we can do this particular thing. So there's no way, and this is a good question. For example, any agent can never bring new evidence. We deal with information. I don't obtain statements from people. I can never come to you and say, I'm an agent, write a statement. No. Throughout my statement, you'll realize I will say, like the kid that Prince Zulu from KZN who had a problem, he was brought to Gauteng. We helped him open the case, but the police must take him through that process to open a case. In as much as I'm involved, he can open a case. I cannot obtain statement. I can never, even today, I know there's going to be evidence and evidence. I cannot produce evidence. I can only give you information, which I must tell you who is going to corroborate that information. Once corroborated, it becomes the evidence that you want.
Mr. Mogotsi, so who did you lie to here? Who's the person that you needed to lie to in order to have this 25A approved? Because you're dealing with people who appear to be part of what you consider DPCI, part of the traps. They also seem to be part of COVID operations. So who did you lie to when you made that application?
Thank you so much. You make an affidavit. First you record a person, you request an authority, and now it means I operated two people, just Colonel Schnell and the colonel that I was recording.
The affidavit that you deposed to, my question is, who did you want to get approval from? From Schnell?
Schnell, that's correct.
So you lied to Schnell?
That's correct.
And said to Schnell, I'm a politician working at the minister's office. Go and apply for a 25A and refer to me as a complainant.
That's correct. That's correct. That's how it
Who then subsequently approved the 25A?
and submitted. Now, I believe, Chairperson, you look at the outcome, if whether it worked or not, because the moment we get the man recorded and we have a document, it means it has achieved its objectives.
Who approved it?
Wherever Colonel Snell applied to, we go to the NPA, obviously, for approval.
So what then subsequently happened after the approval of the 25A?
I recorded, the person submitted the recording and got the transcript, and my job is done. It's now up to Colonel Snell what to do with the case.
Also, just on the Madlanga reference that you made earlier, that Commissioner Madlanga referred to your statement and said that you were lying when he referred to your ID number. And I think Chair has also asked you to confirm whether it is in fact your ID number. You addressed that in your statement and you indicated that you wanted to dispel the theory that you were fabricating your date of or your age, but you haven't provided any proof to show us any otherwise.
That's correct. Well, that's correct, Chair. You see how the 1979 and 1977 came. It was Commissioner, one of the commissioners in Matlanga, who thought I said I'm from Mukondowesizwe. I was a member or a soldier, and he said, even if you were a soldier, were you a soldier at the age of 13? And I explained to him when I was in the SDU, actually it was not the age of 13. I was turning 15, I was 15 years, because I was not born 1977. And by the way, in these SDUs, there were people younger than 13, 12. I was not trying to prove that I was a soldier in Mukondowesizwe. Perhaps if I shouldn't have spoken about it and said, yes, I was 13 years, but I was not in the Mukondowesizwe, there was a SDU, we wouldn't be having the story of the ID and the date of birth. I brought it in to say, no, I was not in Mukondowesizwe, but I was not 13 years old. And then with regard to any proof, those years you will have your baptismal certificate, and you get that other churches closed down, other churches, and I cannot go and make a new baptismal certificate. Then that will be another lie to bring a certificate here that was done last week or last month to prove. I could not get. I looked even for those old priests. Most of them are no more alive.
Okay. Just to go back before we move on your allegations of being a crime intelligence contact agent. Now, you say in your statement that General Mkonazi would not have known that you were at crime intelligence, that you were an agent. And General Kumalo, was he aware because he's the divisional head of crime intelligence?
It's the same thing. General Kumalo come from the VIP protection. He only went to crime intelligence in 2022. You see, even, I don't know who can I mention. No, it's only handlers who knows their agent. You can never be brought in, they say there's a closing party of agent, you are full in a hole like this. Never, you'll never know who are these people. It doesn't require, it's only your handler will have a file number. Like what Honorable Malema was saying, there must be a sort of identity. And that will stay in the file with your handler. Unfortunately, the co-handler has been summoned to appear in Matlanga. I believe he'll provide all that is he has to bring from my file and so forth.
How would this committee be able to be satisfied that you were in fact a crime intelligence contact agent? Every document that we've referred to now that speaks to an operation refers to you as a complainant, refers to you as somebody who works, who's deployed as a politician to the minister's office. There's no indication in these statements that you are a crime intelligence officer.
I would be dead. If one operation come and I say I'm this, there's no way you can survive. There's no way. An agent, that is why I'm happy honorable members were saying we should not jump. We'll get into the details. You'll realize how dangerous this is. And it is only through that handler who will submit the evidence and the information. And probably the committee will subject it to this intelligence committee and so forth to look into those things. I'll give an example of classified information that I had, some of the messages that I had, the stories or the evidence which was presented here about the rifle of that was somehow stolen from the crime intelligence, the properties which were bought, all those things, there's no way we can bring evidence. They are classified. It may possibly help if the committee can really decide to summon that suspended IGI, the Inspector General of Intelligence. He has all the information. And the reason why we are struggling, Chairperson, it's so difficult, coming here, you bring information, and here is an honorable house, they want evidence. I can corroborate. Can you say, give me the names? I can give me the names. This one was the handler who was traveling with Brigadier Sebola to go and meet. And 3 days later, this informant told us he's been followed. 5 days later, he was killed. Only this handler and his commander, I know them. I can give you the names to corroborate. Even the investigating officer of the case of the informant who was killed. Now, I'm having a property, was bought by crime intelligence. Whoever they are talking about 100 million, I'm sitting with one for 22,700,000. And the question was asked here, did you buy the property and whatever? General Kumalo responded the way, but I have a proof that property was put in the name of an individual, a young girl who's not even an employee. Similar thing, the messages that you go to in my WhatsApp, very tricky thing about this brigadier from BMW. The same question was asked. Didn't you have any person who qualified to do that thing? They were asking Lieutenant General Kumali, said, yes, they advertised. There's no such thing. Out of 25,000 police officers, a salesperson to come and head and become a brigadier of the crime intelligence, it's impossible. But it's all information. Like when I submitted it to evidence leader, he decided, she said it's classified, she cannot bring it here. So I agree it cannot be brought here. But I wish after that session, where I'll be cross-examined and whatever, I could be allowed to write a letter, submit this evidence, probably to the chairperson if it's not on public. But we are sitting here because corruption has happened, and now the information is classified. And we get here, I'll be grilled, no evidence, I'll tell you there's a property, nothing.
No, Mr. Mogotsi, it's very, and maybe you can explain to us. It seems that you are willing to expose classified information and talk about classified information. And I can understand it's in the interest of exposing corruption, as you would put it. But if you expose such information and if you want it to be considered credible, one would think that you would at least be in a position to indicate to those who you present the information to that you're coming as a credible source, and this is how you can verify that. Because the information that you want to talk about or expose and the operations that you speak freely of in your statement is not, the source is questionable. So it seems that there's this imbalance of I'm willing to tell you everything about what's happening in crime intelligence and classified information, but I can't confirm that I'm an agent, or you're not saying that at least this would be somebody that could corroborate what I'm saying and to come and indicate that I am a credible source and the information presented to you is in fact valid operations which I was a part of. Do you see the difficulty?
Yes. Through you, Chair, the co-handler is going to appear, is being summoned at Madlanga Commission. Who knew my handler? In my statement, it's written, just 3 weeks before I went to Madlanga, my handler was shot 6 times. He enjoyed his pain. And my co-handler has written, I think, an affidavit explaining the role and all these things that I have done. Let's talk about, when you talk about classified information, I appeared before Madlanga chairman and I spoke about John Wick, Boko Haram. And I told the commission, as I do now to committee, that information is at the analysis department in crime intelligence. And that time it was perceived or construed as I said Ket Matlala was John Wick or is John Wick. But I was saying, I know the report, I saw it, it's still there. It's written Boko Haram. The picture, the big picture of Ket Matlala was there and was written John Wick. It was in 2018 when I saw that report. But that time my contention was when former Minister Bigitelo was here, when he said he only met Ket once or twice, my contention was he should have seen Ket Matlala from that report because the picture was so big and it was in 2018. So there was no way he could say he only saw him in 2014. And because of those presentations, he was supposed to remember that this person was once brought in the form of a presentation. Kind of thing. But that report exists in the crime intelligence analysis.
Let's maybe talk about some of your operations. In your statement from paragraph 18 to paragraph 22, you say that you worked on a number of operations during the period of 2009 and 2021 as a CI agent. And you also mentioned that you were involved in the PEE tender scandals, which led to the suspension of the then Divisional Commissioner General Likalala and others. You also mentioned that you were tasked by General Mpazi in your capacity as contact agent to investigate and look into irregularities within crime intelligence and the South African police services. What did it look like? And in particular, I want to refer you to paragraph 19, where you say your responsibilities was that I was expected to operate as a contact agent and required to activate all my sources, resources, and informants following the same modus operandi that General Mpazi knew I was accustomed to. What did that look like? What was your role? It seemed.
Yeah, Vice Chairperson, paragraph 18, it speaks of operations during period 2009-21 as an agent. And it says during December 2021 and moreover after the PPE. I was not part of the PEE thing. It's only after this, after the the suspension of the then Divisional Commissioner Jacobs, Major Kalakala, and these other generals, that I was called again to assist. That was through my handler on the irregularities, all these things about the crime intelligence, and things like, as I talk about properties, others I mentioned, forklift which was procured for this amount, whereas it was this much. It's part of this thing. Now the same reason is so difficult. Like in government, they will say your KPAs, I've done this, I achieved this. It's impossible with me to come and say, for example, operation people get killed, you give information, people get arrested, they don't know it's you. So there's no way I can come here and say, these are the operations that I have worked on. And it means I'll only give you the information that I have. Where I must bring people to corroborate, I'll give the names for people to corroborate.
Okay, so I'm not sure if I understand what your role was, but when you explained you worked on these operations, my question to you was with reference to paragraph 19. What did it look like for you to activate your sources and resources? And where did these investigations lead to? And what is the current status of these investigations that you conducted?
You know, you'll be surprised that part of investigation, there was, or they still, as we speak, a flat rate payment for informants of 3,000 rand. And you'll get that information from sources. These sources will be employed in the crime intelligence finance section. You start to establish that people, for example, if someone delivers drugs from here to Kailicha, and we have an informant and we pay him 3,000 rand, whereas the boss of the drugs, to transport the drugs from here to Kailicha, he gives these people 20,000. That's how the rate of drugs and crime went up, because the informants were under reimbursed. Very, very small amount. It was a flat rate. Now, it was one of the first things that I picked up, that in crime intelligence, this is the problem. You get, even to date, it's not in my statement, there are 3 informants who are not staying at home anymore in Gauteng. They participated in CIT. When they were supposed to be paid, they said there was no money. When they were supposed to be paid, it was an instruction again that we want to meet this informant. Now, that information is part of operations in the crime intelligence. It's part of information that you need to collect. Give to the handler, he'll take it to collections and analysis, and they end up there.
Were you investigating corruption or were you investigating drugs with General Mpasi?
No, it was an overall thing pertaining to crime intelligence.
What does that mean? And there's a reason why I'm asking this, is because we had a witness here who spoke about the work that General Mpasi has done, and it was sort of, I don't want to say it but the witness alleged that there might have been foul play in relation to the death of General Mpasi. And so my question to you, when I ask about the nature of the work and investigations that you've done with General Mpasi, is also for purposes of clarity, and see if you can also assist in shedding a light in relation to those allegations that have been made. So were you working on drugs? Were you working on tenders? What was the nature of the operations that you were doing?
Yeah, you see, tasks will come randomly in different, you will not be classified. It's not like you are working in town, you operate with trucks. You pass in a taxi rank, people are having firearms, and you say, no, I work with trucks, firearms are not a concern. With crime intelligence, we gather any information that is to do with crime. And it's true that, it was known that General Mfazi passed on due to COVID and so forth. And his body was exhumed twice. That's when there was that lead that he was poisoned. The investigation is still there. And as to a witness who came here and talked about the work he has done, he mentioned so many things. Other work, I was not part of them. Many of what he said was not what I was working on.
So you're not able to tell us the exact nature of the operations that you were busy with in the investigations, and you're also not in a position to tell us where those investigations currently are and whether they're on hold or whether they are still being investigated, but you've stopped working on it.
If you check my statement, immediately after the passing of, this is paragraph 21 of General Mfazi, I was instructed to lay low, and I did so. And then there was no way we could ever do other things. Remember, a project file that comes from a DNC, for example, will go, you will have a look at it. You'll never take any paper home. You'll look at it, and then your handler will tell you, these are the things that I think you must do. And you concentrate on the work that you have been given. So, like I say, similarly in Madlanga, if you checked in Madlanga, there's one witness who was murdered, but he was never given a name. They called him Witness D. Chairperson, the reason that witness was able to be identified and killed is because whether you are hidden on the screen or you call yourself Witness J, the moment you speak of events, series of events, how they unfolded, everything, whoever was involved will remember, but yeah, this is Brown. So the moment I come and say, for example, there is probably through my handler, the Committee of Intelligence, they know these things properly. They may just decide to summon one commissioner in the police or in the crime detection probably, and to the handler, because already I have spoken about this. Then one can give that information on what is it that I'm talking about. But to say investigations are on or not on, it's only my handler who knows how and where these things are.
Yeah, but in paragraph 19, you say, General Mfazi called you and detailed your responsibilities. So the evidence leader is asking you, what were those responsibilities as detailed by General Mfazi?
Oh, yes, yes, one was from the suspension of these divisional commissioners. Obviously, you will be given 4 or 5 sources who were working, for example, in Pretoria, those who work maybe in the head office, provincial office of Gauteng, that in these offices you will find so and so. He'll go and talk to him, tell him I sent you. Play low, he'll give you what you want, and obtain information, submit the information. So those kind of responsibilities will mean go to the, like when they bought vehicles and laptops, they'll say, go to the finance section. In finance section, you'll get someone who will tell you, indeed, they bought all these things and they're not giving to members to use. Or indeed, so much money was withdrawn, they said, who is going to the operation wherever, and that never took place. Now, immediately when they say the money was withdrawn, was given to Glass, it means your task is to look for Glass. So I don't know how will I put that in writing of all the responsibilities that was given.
Okay, so we're going to move on. But before we do that, because this is your statement and you deposed to it to assist the committee with its terms of reference, as you've put out in your statement in paragraph 4. So what is the committee to do with your information that you've given about your work with General Mfazi? Before we move on, how do you want us to view this? How is it going to be of any assistance? What are you trying to tell us with that?
You see, on paragraph 4.1 to 4.4, this does not come from General Mfazi.
No, I understand that, but I'm asking in the bigger scheme and of assisting the committee, what should we take away from your engagement with General Mfazi that you've referred to in your statement?
Yeah, none of yeah, you see now on paragraph 4.4, this somehow were related, but did not include your Metropolis division. I know of someone who was dealing with these metro officers who were extorting money from Pakistanis and what. There's another colleague of mine who was working on that. But I'm saying part of 4.4, it resonates with a bit of what General Mfazi would want us to deal with.
Okay. Now, shall we move on to paragraph 24, where you deal with the operations conducted in relation to General Mkhwanazi? And you deal with that from paragraph 24, I believe, to paragraph 64. Now, in paragraph 24, you allege that General Mkhwanazi worked with the CIA, and you obtained that information from King Msizulu. No, sorry, King Msizulu and General Mkhwanazi were recruited, and they actively worked for and with the CIA. Where do you get that information?
Yes, remember, as I said, the information will come as a task by the handler. But you will not come and say, yeah, they are recruited, and you keep quiet. Now, if we continue to read on the part of the International Criminal Court, where South African government took Israel there, it's when we started realizing now, when we started talking, because of the terminal, the coal terminal in Richards Bay. The contract and the arrangement, majority of that coal goes to Israel. And during that time, because I also went sometime, the brother to King Msizulu, he was also trying to engage this other Chinese company. I don't know what is it that they were working on. But soon after that, that is when my handler and his colleague from KZN in Nongoma, they said, you know, ever since this Israeli thing, we've been attacked, and members of the PKTT are coming up and down at the Royal House to Smakade. And in my statement, I do confirm that we did make contact. They did make contact, and they came to Gauteng, and they stayed in Midrand, where we facilitated the opening of a case against General Mkhwanazi. And that case number is also appearing here. Now, in the docket of the case, the information, the A1 statement from the aide and the brother to the prince, he did mention all. I did not take the copy of the docket, but I still have contact with the person who came to open the case. He did mention the harassment and how most of the time the fight about this is related to the terminal, to the Richards Bay thing, and how they want to extend the contract of the Israelis. That's the statement which came from the aide and the prince. Then the case was registered and transferred to Nongoma because of jurisdictional purpose.
We'll get to that later into your statement. But this,
The CIA.
yeah, it's a very serious allegation, because you're dealing with somebody who is the provincial commissioner of KZN, and you're saying that this person is also working or protecting Western interests,
Yes.
going against what he's tasked to do in his current position. You did make an attempt to deal with investigations that you've done in relation to confirming that he was, or you did a follow up on
Yeah,
your
you see,
suspicion.
thank you. You see, there are things that when someone speaks, you listen to. I'll give you an example. Remember he once said, he spoke here, said things started becoming bad when members started calling each other comrades, and how he trained in America, all those things, and how he defended whoever is contracted in that coal thing. That's where the thinking came from, but it doesn't necessarily mean it came from me. It came as a task to establish that since the case has been opened like this by this Royal House member, it means there are allegations.
Tasked you.
Then obviously his only one person is my handler.
Your handler was not the one that engaged with former Minister Natin Tetwa. In your statement, you say you had suspicions. You then, out of your own accord, that's how it appears in your statement, decided to get in contact with the former minister to discuss why he previously decided to get rid of General Mkhwanazi. And on those suspicions, you then acted and then decided on your own accord to follow up on context that the former minister gave you.
Yes, exactly. But the word on accord, in my personal, when I act, is based on wanting to achieve, trying to complete or continue with my investigation. If the instruction or here's the task, we have to establish based on the case. Remember, there was a case open, and what the A1 talks to all those things. And the case number is here. Now you start acting, you look at all these things that has transpired. That's why you also find when I started talking to General Mkhwanazi, I spoke about the case that took place of a correctional officer. It's because you are looking generally at everything that has happened. Then you start thinking, okay, what happened to, let me ask the former minister, actually, what was the problem with this and that? And then and remember, there were still suspicions, and there are still suspicions, but they are based on the statement that was written on the Times. Now, he then said there is someone in Kenya who also has similar suspicions and so forth. And in Madlanga, I think when we were preparing, they thought there was no need to submit any proof that I went to Kenya. And during the session, then it came out I could not produce anything. Hence now, I've put it on my statement and brought my passport to show you. Indeed, I went to Kenya, I met this particular guy, and I said, he gave me this particular name, which I don't believe, but he still said, yes, he knew. There was suspicion, he was aware of that. But it's very, very difficult to say, to prove if someone is an agent. Like I say, a CIA agent, and I'm taking myself an agent. The same way I say it's difficult to realize, it's going to be very difficult to prove that, but it's based on the case.
So is there currently an investigation against General Mkhwanazi because he's protecting Western interests, in particular relating to the coal interest that you're referring to? Is there currently such an investigation?
No, I cannot confirm, but there's no, I don't know of any investigation. It will be the attempting to collect the collection of information. One trying to take 1 and 1 to get 11 or 2, but as officially, I'm not in a position to say yes, there is an investigation against General Mkhwanazi.
Can you also not confirm what the nature of that investigation would be? It's very vague to say that he was protecting Western interests and that it's a coal interest. What is unlawful about what he's doing, and how is he doing it in a way that suggests that he's protecting Western interests?
Yeah, obviously on the case that was open in Midrand by the Royal, in case the case, if the case happened to be enrolled in the court, the same question you are raising would be posed to whoever opened that case during a cross-examination. They were going to ask him the same question.
Is that case about coal?
No, the reasons behind, he was explaining the reason behind is the PKT is harassing him, he's protecting who, and how is he connecting with the current king and in ensuring that they don't deal with the Chinese. It was involving the coal, according to that statement on the case number that I've provided.
Okay. So you mentioned that you assisted the king and his aide and to open a case against
Yeah, the prince, yes,
The
I was
prince,
there, yes, that's
yes.
correct.
how did you become involved in this feud?
I don't understand the question.
How did they know to come and approach you, and how did you become involved in all of this?
Obviously, I said the colleague of my handler from Nongoma, they were talking and they said they've tried to open cases 3-4 times. The cases could not either be registered or the case could not be investigated. And through, in this intelligence circle, you'll have one brigadier, maybe in the Eastern Cape, who has a knowledge, who will refer a person to another brigadier in Gauteng and stuff like that. So they were referred to open a case. That's why the case was immediately transferred to KZN.
It's not something that you picked up during your investigations into him being a CIA agent that led you to become involved in this. This is not related.
No, is the handler who brings the information to saying another person in Nongoma, they are sending people here to come and open a case because the cases cannot be opened in KZN.
Okay, so in paragraph 36, you mentioned that you traveled to Kenya. You've also just stated that you've attached a copy of your passport, or provided us a copy of your passport that confirms that you did in fact travel to Kenya. And we have attached it in the bundle, in the annexure bundle. It's not numbered, but it's at the very end of the annexure bundle, the last 2 pages, I believe. Members will see there's a copy of Mr. Mogotsi's passport that indicates there are stems of his travels on the 10th and the 11th of September. So just before we move on to the next issue, is there anything in relation to what the outcome of your travels that you'd like to put on record, your discussions with George that confirmed your suspicions about General Mkhwanazi?
Yeah, as things stands now, I can never say indeed the suspicions are correct because after I briefed the late former minister, who also spoke of him coming to Madlanga at that time, and that George, he has a knowledge about these operations of the CIA in Southern Africa, but he could not give me something tangible to produce.
Okay. Now, in paragraph 38 of your statement, you speak of General Mkhwanazi, and you say that you've learned that all his suspects do not make it out alive, and they basically denied the right to a fair trial. Now, that's a very serious allegation, but it's not quite clear what you mean by that. Do you want to elaborate on what you mean?
It's not that I learned. Everyone knows what happened in KZN. Every time we hear they were fighting back with the police, they never come back alive. Every time. And I don't say they must shoot the police. But in that shooting, you'll never find one police has been shot in the head or something. Every time the suspect don't get a fair trial to appear in court. That's my point.
That's in your statement that it seems to suggest something strong. It says that I came to learn that all General Mkhwanazi suspects did not make it out alive. You're saying that every person he arrests does not make it out alive and does not get a chance to have a fair trial.
I think one of the reasons crime cannot go down in many instances, where there is death penalty in certain countries. People do go to court, fair trial, found guilty, convicted, and sentenced. But in a scenario where every time the criminals, and I'm not saying these criminals must go and do all these things. I'm just saying they should be arrested and appear before court. And you cannot have a democracy where every time, and as if the crime in the Western Cape does happen, Northern Cape in many places, but suspect do get arrested, others get away, get identified, and get arrested. But the ones for these people, they will not every time, and they don't get a chance to shoot back. I don't say they must shoot back. I'm just saying there's never evidence to know where these criminals comes from because they get killed before we get whoever who's sending them or the big people behind them.
Yeah, but sorry, Honorable Mara, but you, in paragraph 37, you are making a series of events that you conducted Minister Mthethwa, former Minister Mthethwa, who died under suspicious circumstances. And the following paragraph is the one that says you have learned that suspects of General Mkhwanazi do not make it out alive.
Yeah.
And you'll recall that you just recently you made an allegation of General Mkhwanazi having worked for the CIA.
Yeah.
So what is the relationship between these statements?
No, Minister Mthethwa was not General Mkhwanazi's suspect. He was never his suspect, and the suspicious circumstances. I was referring to even here in Cape Town, from second floor, the third floor, it's impossible to open that window with a scissor. They are very strong. I was just talking my own view as how is it possible to break? It's unlike this one in the hall. If you go in hotels, you can check, you can never open that glass and fall from there. It was my thinking. I'm still thinking the same. But it has nothing to do with General Mkhwanazi thing. It's just that because again, I was referring to his suspects or the suspects mostly based in the KZN who have who usually get into fight with the police.
And also maybe just to go a little bit back, I think I skipped a very important part of your statement, which is from paragraph 31 onwards, paragraph 31 and paragraph 32. You referred to Mr. Matlala's engagement with General Mkhwanazi. And you say that Mr. Matlala reminded you just prior to, when General Mkhwanazi had his press statement, or press conference, Mr. Matlala reminded you that he previously made reference to traveling to Durban in order to meet a person who could solve all his difficulties. Do you want to explain what difficulties Mr. Matlala had and talk about the alleged meeting between himself and General Mkhwanazi?
Thank you, Chair. Usually when you know a person, you will not know all his problems. And he'll probably say, hey, I have problems. But the day he says, there is this important person in the KZN and this meeting that I have to attend, and should that meeting materializes, I think my problems will be solved. That's what happened. And there's the same evidence that I led that then I had to, because he mentioned the date when I drove to Durban and waited and all those things and followed them to the place in Umhlanga. It is unfortunate that in Madlanga, one of commissioners said General Mkhwanazi never said he's staying in Umhlanga. But my investigation was based on following the man and see where he goes, and that place was Umhlanga. It was in Umhlanga. Now, the most important thing out of that meeting is I did not see who the person was. Who did he meet? And after some time, after he got arrested, there was a press conference of General Mkhwanazi. As he was speaking from the prison cell from his phone the same day after the press conference, he did mention that, you know, my brother, do you remember the day when I told you I went to KZN? I actually went to meet General Mkhwanazi. And I still maintain that given the period of time General Mkhwanazi had when addressing the media, I believe he was supposed to take the country to confidence that I also met with Kate Matla. During the press conference again, he did say there was a meeting arranged by Minister Senzo Mkunu, National Commissioner, General Sibiya and himself. And towards, in conclusion to what you are saying, he did say he will never have a meeting with a criminal. Now, to my surprise, the alleged member of the Big Five sat with him, corroborated by Major General Senona, who said he was just busy taking some drinks. It shows the environment where they were sitting. They could even have drinks together. But he never took the country to confidence that actually I was with Kate Matla.
What were you doing in Durban at the time?
No, I traveled specifically because Kate did mention he was going to meet someone important. I actually thought it was Becky Kelly.
What were you trying to achieve? What were you? You
Invest-
traveled because Kate said he was going to Durban to meet someone, and what was it to you to
Yes,
know?
yes, if you check now, part of the task when dealing with Kate, it included to know who is he working with, who is he meeting is important. Yes.
And then he also told you that he gave General Mkhwanazi money.
No, I just said I gave him something, and I did try to explain to evidence leader that he said he gave him something on the phone when he was talking to.
And then further on, you allege that
Can
you.
pause there, or could Maria, Honorable Malema?
So, thanks, Chair. When you say, he says he doesn't meet criminals following the meeting of him, Sibiya, Minister and Commissioner, but he doesn't take the country into confidence that he met Matala and General Senona. Are you implying that Matala is a criminal in your own words?
It's derived from what he said. He has linked him to be one of the Big Five.
No, let's leave with what he said. You're saying because he met Matlala, after he told the country that doesn't meet criminals, he meets Matlala and he doesn't keep quiet. He should have told us that he met a criminal Matlala himself. So are you regarding Matlala as a criminal?
No, I'm not regarding him as a criminal.
So why is that important? Why should you tell us about a meeting of a general himself, Matlala and himself?
If meeting the minister and two generals, the third one being himself, as one criminal amongst them, it definitely will apply when he meets the person who is alleged to be a Big Five. And not just someone who steals milk or whatever. He's accused of being a member of the Big Five.
Yeah, but also, Mr. Mogotsi, when we say General Mkhwanazi said he can have a meeting with the criminal, are you referring to the media briefing of the 6th of July?
That's correct.
Didn't he say the minister arranged a meeting between himself and General Sibiya to try and pursue peace between them? And he later said there can never be peace between a police officer and a criminal.
That's correct.
Then where do you get the meeting with the criminal thingy?
Yeah, the peace was spoken in the meeting they met.
And I'm saying, you're saying he said he will never meet with a criminal. But if it refers to the press briefing that all of us have a statement now,
Yes.
it didn't say he will never meet with the criminal. He said there can be a peace between a police officer and a criminal, and referring to a meeting between him, the Minister Mkuno,
Yeah.
and Gerald Spear.
And there you are correct. I may have.
So do we agree that you are quoting all this out of context?
That's what I believed. That and it's important the distinction what you are drawing now. It shows that peace and meeting is not the same.
No, but
You are
you are
correct.
saying you are referring to a meeting with between Jerome Corners and Mr. Ket Matla.
Yes.
And you are referring to what Jerome Corners said in the press briefing.
Yes. That's
Which are
right.
two completely different things, because Jerome Corners was simply speaking about a meeting arranged by Minister Mkuno.
Yes.
So do you agree that you have quoted all this out of context?
Yeah, maybe I should put it this way. If he feels he cannot have peace with criminals, referring to one, either Minister Senzo or General Sibi, it means one of them, he cannot make peace with them. And in this case, probably it was General Sibi. So if it means General Sibi, unless we say General Sibi can be more criminal than what he alleges about Kate.
Malam?
No, Mr. Mogotsi, we are now agreeing. We shouldn't, there must not be a disagreement. We should all agree that he has never made a commitment never to meet a criminal. He made a commitment never to meet peace with a criminal.
I agree.
Thank you.
Allocate, Maria. Proceed.
Mr. Mogotsi, I then would like to move on to, I mean, you deal with, in paragraph 32, with your meeting, I mean, with the calls that you received from Mr. Matlala. Now, later in your statement, you deal with your relationships and interactions with Mr. Matlala, and I'd like to come back to that paragraph 32 when we deal with Mr. Matlala later on in your statement. In paragraph 39, you refer to General Mkhwanazi and Minister Becky Cele, and that they were involved in a tender that was awarded to Magma Security. And at this point, I just want to know that you've been saying in your statement that you've been conducting a number of operations in relation to General Mkhwanazi. And when you refer to these operations, you refer to, I've learned this and I've learned that. But it's not quite clear where this is going and how this investigation is going in relation to these different aspects that you seem to be learning about. Are there real investigations being conducted, and where's the information, the real sort of evidence that can corroborate these learnings that you've acquired through your investigations with on General Mkhwanazi? But speak to us about paragraph 39 when you refer to this Magma Security. Was there an investigation conducted in relation to any irregularity about the security company, or is it just another learning curve?
Okay. Where I use the word I have learned, mostly I'm referring to the information that I have.
Mm.
And I also realized, I don't know if Chair will, in paragraph 39, sentence number 3, where I talk about Magma Security. There, remember you're doing this visual, I was saying may have conducted the downloading mirrors. May it be rectified, please. Yes, there's a company by the name of Magma in KZN. And there is, of course, a litigation and of another company that is fighting for the same tender in KZN about Magma. And I also learned that, remember, there is a device, a machine And I can see it's not listed here. There are three companies which have this. It's called Cellbrite. Cellbrite. The Cellbrite machine is the only machine which, when General Mukhonazi was here saying to members, they can retrieve messages and see and whatever. So, with the information I have, you know, in South African Police Service, Yotli, the entire, there's no one who's able to use that machine. There are three companies in possession of these machines. That is Magma and these other two companies. Now, because of the relationship Magma has with General Mukhonazi, that's where the suspicion is thrown that it was actually used to, even all these messages about Cat, Mamang and Mama, it is this company that has done that thing. Hence, I believe many messages which were not in favor of certain people who were deleted is because of this machine, and Magma has this machine.
But you have no proof of the allegations made in paragraph 39.
As I said, I'll give information, and the committees here, I did the same with Matlanga. Information I give, I must probably be told, right, bring us people to corroborate this, what you're saying, so that that corroboration can convert the information I have to the evidence that you want here.
And those people that you're referring to in relation to these investigations that you've conducted and that they would be able to come and corroborate, what are they currently doing with this
They are police.
information?
They are police officers.
No, but my question is, what are they currently doing with this with the information? Because these allegations are serious and everybody's sitting on it and you're saying you're learning from it. But what is happening in respect of these serious allegations that you're making?
Yeah, you see, there is something that probably I can quote. I was so happy to see it being mentioned by the chairperson of the committee about these mafias who are not dangerous but invincible because they are running government. It's a similar thing about cases which are open. The case that led to the arrest of Lieutenant General Kumalo, Lekalakala, Lushaba, and those generals, it was open 2 times. They could not be arrested. It was by luck that the matter was then, through a certain referral to Adhoc, the matter was then investigated and they were arrested. You could still ask a question, if they were able to be arrested by Adhoc, why were they not arrested when the matter was open in Cape Town or Soweto? It's because somebody must say yes. If I give you a proof that a property has been bought for 22 million, it's not in the name of the state. If it is on the name, probably it was changed. But there is a title deed that shows the name of the person whom the property was registered on. And this, where I'm sitting, is the last line of defense. I believe you can call whoever and say, here's the title deed. How did you buy this property on the name of this individual?
So you're saying in order for the committee to step in and deal, or rather you consider the committee the last avenue or the last sort of resort that can come in and assist. But how will it do it? Must it now call these people that will come and corroborate whom you have not mentioned here? Will you give the names later? How is the committee going to come to your assistance if you haven't given it enough information?
The committee gave me 3 or 7 days to bring that should be corroborated to the attention of the chairperson, including the proof that the forklift was bought for 900,000 instead of 250. The property, 22 million rand. The whatever information says there were 120 million, but I only mentioned the 22 million property evidence that was bought. Now, imagine I was with the evidence leader yourself yesterday, but we still cannot produce it here because it's classified. Now, I said, remember, I'm a layman. I cannot make statements, but if the committee feels to compel whoever, probably the NPA, probably whoever, and say, here's the information, why are you not acting? Probably something will happen.
Yeah, but there are also other serious allegations you make. The properties aside, you're saying that there are cases that are not being furthered. There are cases that are being opened but not prosecuted, or they're not allowing cases to be opened. And it seems that that information should be readily available, especially the ones that you've mentioned here in your statement.
Yeah, but remember, that is classified information. Probably if the committee could summon the IGI or have access to the IGI report in whichever way that is allowed in terms of the law, then we will not talk about those things. Everything is there.
Then in paragraph 40, again, you mentioned one of your investigations that you've done into General Mkonazi, and this is one where you say he refused to open up a case against a correctional officer that was found in possession of drugs. Where is this case currently at? Or do you want us to, or maybe do you want to explain first how you've learned of this information? How did you, if this was one of your formal operations that you participated in, or it's just something that you've heard about through the grapevine?
No, I remember it's me who spoke to General Mkonazi. And when he appeared here, at least he had his phone. Our phones are not in our possession. In his phone, he was able to produce my communication with himself, where I sent him a proof of the OB entry from Mbangini police station. The case was open. The officer could not be arrested because he intervened. And on his response, he did explain to me exactly what happened and why he felt the officer should not be arrested, and that the drugs were found in the rubbish bin outside. But this is not the only case which was open. I did mention a matter of Rustenburg, where there were Zamazamas and people with unlicensed firearms. There were some shooting 2 days before information came. And because this thing works in Rustenburg, that's when we brought in the tactical management operations, TOMS, Operation Management System, for the DPCI. And they came there, they had to sit somewhere, and at a particular period, chairperson, they went into the place, they found my security officers wearing black uniform, having their firearms also. They demanded each and everyone to see the permits, to see the licenses security officers produced. And they let them, they gave them back their ammunition, then they went to take cover again. At the right time, from the information that was provided, those guys came and the police arrived. They pointed those people, is in the exhibit. They were all lying on the floor. The pictures of rifles were there and the firearms. The case number was open. The people were detained. They were given rights. All the firearms were put in the SAP 13. That's when the problem started now. Receiving a call from General Mboto, he was still a Major General, talking to the arresting officer. Why are you detaining those people? Those people are officers. Arresting officer responding to him, no, General Mboto. We went there first. This is what we found, the firearms with permit with the security. These ones are not security officers. That's when 20 minutes later, the former head of Hawks, General Lebeya, he also called the arresting officer on the same information. Arresting officer said, no, these are firearms. They don't belong to security company. If I just conclude, then this is what happened. 2 days later, those people were released and they were given back all those rifles. Those rifles were never subjected to ballistic testing. We don't even know whether they were involved in any crime before or so forth, but they were released. I'm showing you that there was another operation which took place where people were arrested, but because of whoever makes decisions decided let them be released. It happened. Just like in Mpumalanga, where the correctional officer was just let to go.
My question to you in relation to that investigation was whether this was an operation or something that you were actively involved in, or whether this is something that you've just heard about, or is this what you're saying? You've just heard about it?
Yes.
It appears to be the same with most of these investigations that you're referring to, even the one that you just spoke to, where you said that General Mboto released people that were supposed to be arrested, and we will come back to it in your statement. But were you involved in that operation? Was it you? Were you part of it? Or is this just another thing that you've heard about?
It's not heard about. That one, I heard about it, I made calls, I was involved. I was not on the site. Remember, when you provide information, you cannot go to the scene in the shooting line and so forth. But in Bangeni, it was clear there was a defeating end of justice, which case had to be open, and because General Mkonazi decided this correctional officer should not be arrested, and I spoke to him about that. That's when I sent him the OB entry from Mbangi.
As you'd note that when General Mkonazi appeared in front of the committee, and I think you've just mentioned it, he expressed concern that you appear to have this kind of information available, but you're not part of the police, and you deal with it in your statement, and you say that, well, the reason why General Mkonazi would think that I have dubious relationships with senior police officials is because he was not aware that I was a crime intelligence official.
Not
But-
official.
Sorry, a crime intelligence agent, contact agent.
Okay, just a second. Honorable James.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Mogotsi, I'm having difficulty in understanding who you actually are within SAPS. You are part of investigations. You reference in your statement as part of my investigation, as if though you're a police officer, a detective. You also say that you sent proof of an OB entry. An OB entry, that is the book in SAPS at the station, at the local station. How did you gain access to the OB book? Number one. Number two, you also say in your paragraph 40 that the correctional officer who was accused of being in possession of drugs, right? You are this detective within SAPS. The drugs wasn't found on the member. The drugs was found in the bin at the home. And this is why it was recorded in the OB book. So why are you saying that General Mkonazi refused to arrest someone that was not found in possession of drugs? There's a big, big difference when it comes to being in possession, dealing and trafficking in how it is recorded. And how did you gain access to the OB book? Who sent you that photo of the OB book with this recording? Because you are not a member of SAPS.
Thank you, Chairperson. It is unfortunate that this has happened and I'm there. And it's going to happen in so many ways, and it's going to continue to happen to have access to information by nature of what I told you I am. Now, it is true, you see, where I say we discovered he refused to arrest the correctional officer. Indeed, that is the response which General Mkonazi has sent to me after I send him the OB. Now, the question is to where do I get the OB? A network of sources, informant, for the coming period, I'll always say my source, my handler, because unless if the OB is fictitious, that we produced a fake OB, then it's a problem. But if if it's an official OB that comes from SAPS through me as an agent, it has happened. Unless I don't know how to put it, but that's what happened.
Thank you so much, Chair. Are you aware of the National Instruction 2 of 2001 that basically governs what handlers and what agents are meant to do and how operations are meant to unfold? You are not supposed to be having information. You are supposed to be informing and providing information. Are you aware of the national instruction? This isn't just done any which way. I've been listening to you the entire morning, speaking about rates, recruitment rates. There's no such thing. There's absolutely no such thing. We are governed here. We don't come here and we say this is how things work. You are recruiting people. People are working for you. It's like you are the SAPS member here. Your entire statement gives us the impression that you are a member of South African Police Service, which you are not. You are an informant, and you are governed by National Instruction 2 of 2001. It doesn't make sense, everything that you are telling us here all morning. My investigation, it is not your investigation. Speaking of your informants, there was a problem, there was a flat rate, there was a standard rate, there was a recruitment rate of 1,200 Rand. No, there's no such thing. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, Mr. Mogotsi.
The honourable member and myself, we are in two different worlds. I can show you, it's just that I cannot give you names, but I have 10 handlers who can corroborate how much informants have been paid, how many have decided to quit. It even happened in my hometown where they discovered more than 30 laptops and he was given 500 Rand. He threw it to those police officers. It's I can hear it's referring me to a particular act of the law, which, laymen like me will just work with his handler, get the information, work on that. And these informants are not recruited by me, chairperson. You get to identify him, tell your handler. Your handler will probably even talk to another detective in another town about this information and say there is an informant that side. You get that there is an informant who's staying maybe in Langa, but he's not in good relationship with the police in Langa. A handler here will be able to get the station commissioner in Langa, talk to him without showing them this informant, and still operate and arrest the suspects. That is the point I'm trying to make.
Okay, Mogotsi, proceed.
Okay. Then just further, before we close on your investigations on General Mkhwanazi, we've seen throughout your statement and you've given now your testimony on various investigations that you were trying to conduct in relation to General Mkhwanazi. And it appears from your statement that there was a build-up to something. Because if you look at, for instance, at paragraph 48 of your statement, it says, I wanted to create an impression that I was close to the minister, and you wanted to sort of get closer to almost draw General Mkhwanazi in. What were you trying to achieve there? And then you read paragraph 48 together with paragraph 53. Why was it so important for you to gain General Mkhwanazi's confidence and trust to execute a mandate? And what was this mandate that you're referring to?
Thank you, Chairperson. You see, maybe I should clarify that part of investigation. Collection of information, transferring of information, it can only exist through investigation. When you send someone to do something, either to a bar where people are drinking, that person go and sit there. He's there to investigate. He cannot just get sense. Ladies and gentlemen, now I'm here. Now I want to know who's selling. He has to investigate. He has to identify the people that you sent him to go and look for. Let's get to my messages to General Konas. The same thing with him. If I did not send him a message, probably we wouldn't be having this whole thing. Because my feeling that time, and my intention was to get General Konas.
For what?
Like I said, let me show you, this is so important. The page that you referred to is page, says page 39, eh?
I refer to paragraph 48 and I refer to 53. It's on page 14 and 15.
48. Yes. First of all, by me sending message to General Mkonazi about the thing, was to get closer to him, was to start talking to many knew he did, we started talking. And can you imagine, like you said, Chairperson, the person I'm referring to is a provincial commissioner of the police. It's true. Now, unless you say this is a lie, we never spoke. Through my operations, I got to him, I started talking to him. Even before he had a press conference, I sent him a message after information that he was going to have a press conference. And I said to him, congratulations, you're about to save the country. That's it, that's the information gathering.
But I'm not in the police, but I know that you wouldn't just randomly investigate something which is not aimed at something specific. If you conduct an investigation into somebody, it must be that you have certain suspicions. And through your investigations, you're trying to gather evidence or further information that can support the suspicion, and you build up your case throughout your investigation. But there are a number of investigations that you've done in relation to General Mkonazi. And then in paragraph 48 and 53, you tell us that you wanted to gain his confidence and you wanted to get closer to him to achieve what? And what was the nature of the investigation? What were you trying to further?
Let me answer that to Chair. You know, Lieutenant Kumalo, General Kumalo and General Mkonazi, they work together. And check paragraph 52. I sent him a message that he must be mindful that, and that he must check his standing with Lieutenant General Kumalo in an effect to elicit his response. And after sending him that message, he responded immediately. And because I had a picture of the crime intelligence session which was taking place elsewhere, I sent it to him. And he confirmed in the committee that indeed this meeting took place of the crime intelligence. And it means this person was there or he was told by someone who was there. That's what he said. But he never stopped talking to me because I said, this is confidential. Please keep it to yourself. We'll talk. Something of that. It's a way how to get closer to a person.
In paragraph 53, you said you had a mandate
Yes,
from your handler.
yes.
What was that? What were you working towards?
Like I said now, if you are given tasks, and I come here and talk about all those tasks and say, no, we wanted to know how people, or how people got promoted, or how people got, there's so many things that are happening, including the KZN, a lot, that I have requested, and I'm still repeating that the committee, they will, in terms of the law, I don't know those procedures, to get me to write together with an attorney, either to the Joint Standing Committee of Intelligence to submit the names and all these things that can corroborate this information. Let me give you, give an example of what happened to me in Madlanga. In Madlanga, I gave the same information similar to what I'm giving. It was not done like this, where you interrogate the evidence that I gave. They asked me about my ID number. And they asked me about the matter which I took to court. Now, there the evidence leader was trying to prove that I'm not a credible witness, I'm a liar. Meaning we prepared together. He never said, I'm going to talk about this, and I'm going to talk about the court matter of the Department of Health. So it means if I had given the names of all these people, one, their lives could be in danger today. And nothing has been done to follow up on those information I've given.
Nobody's asked.
Advocate Mogotsi. Nomola?
Thanks, Chair. You said they asked you about the tender you got from health at Madlanga.
The tender that
The tender that you got at Madlanga. You said they asked you about the ID and the tender.
yes, and I can clarify which tender what happened.
Yeah.
There was a tender in the Department of Health in the Northwest. I did not tender. And it was won by some people outside. Now, the business forum, I have something called Brown Mogotsi Foundation, which would do some litigations in different institutions. At that time, I managed to go to court and interdict that tender. Now, in my statement, this is what happened. A similar thing which Honorable James is very angry to me about. Here's the information. The whistleblower says there is a tender which is coming out and is going to be won by class. The process is at this stage, but they didn't do it properly. Then he leaked the information to see this is how he scored and all those things. Then going to court to interdict, we could not go to court without the appointment letter. We're supposed to say they're being appointed. So the appointment letter could not come out in August. It came out at the end of August. So in my court papers, I said, I became aware of the appointment letter in September. With now not mentioning that we couldn't get the appointment letter during August and we couldn't go to court. And as a result, that's when the evidence leader said, you lied under oath, you got the court order, it was a rule NISI application, it was granted, but you lied. You knew in August that there was a case. Now, it came as a surprise to me. Like I say, I'm just a layman. Now, I'm saying to evidence leader, no, we didn't have the appointment. You are a professional liar. You are a liar. That's how it happened. Something that has nothing to do with the evidence.
Okay, proceed on, Advocate Mogotsi.
Thank you, Chair. Mogotsi, I'd like us to move on. I know you've also mentioned, well, it's in the exhibit bundle and we'll get to that. That might probably shed further light or assist Honorable Malema further in relation to the hospital tender. That judgment that was granted in Northwest in relation to that tender is part of the exhibit bundle, and I'd also like to deal with it further at a later stage. I'm just mentioning it for you to note. I'd like us to continue to paragraph 60, and with paragraph 60, which deals with a General Khan, I also want to request that you open up your annexure bundle BM4, which refers to this transcript where the plot against General Khan was recorded.
BM4.
BM4, it's on page 16. So before we get into it, Just on General Khan, yeah,
Index.
it's the black bundle, the
Index.
black, yeah,
Sorry,
page 16,
16.
yeah.
That's correct.
So just to put on record, General Khan, how well do you know him and what is your relationship with General Khan
That during the recording,
at any given point? And how long have you known him?
I've known the name General Khan in the intelligence sector and I didn't know him.
Mm.
Even when I conducted this 252A, I didn't know him. I got to meet General Khan once with my handler after this recordings and everything were done. He just said he was in the car. He said, "Here's General Khan," and I greeted him, and that was the last time I met him. That was the last time I saw him.
Mm. Now, in BM4, before we get into the content of it and deal with your engagement with General Mkonas in relation to General Khan, now there is a transcript on page 16. This plot against General Khan, I believe that this is supposed to be a recording, and you've referred to it earlier, a recording of a conversation with a witness that was supposed to testify at the disciplinary hearing of General Khan.
That's correct.
Now, on top of the page, the parties are not clearly described. It's just reference is made to main 1, main 2, main 3. Were you one of the parties?
That's correct.
Which one are you?
I just remember. I think I'm man 2.
You main 2. Are you able to identify the other ones?
No, cannot identify. Let me just continue. I cannot, I know the person. That's the person I requested not to give his name in public. I know the person. The number, all 3, all 1, 2, 3, I know all of that. I know number 1 and number 3.
You indicate from which of the 3 was going to be the witness,
Number 1.
number 1. And the role of number 3?
Make with the. You know, I must. Something which talks of me, a minister. That's what defines me in that part. The other part, the other man, like I said, is also a colonel. When we did that thing, he was present. And if you check the affidavit to Ludi Schnell, that the person is also appearing there as number, as I must just confirm through something if really I'm number 1 or number 2. Someone. Yeah, then yeah, I think I'm number I'm him. No, I'm number 3. Number 1 is the witness. Number 2 is the colonel I was with. That's correct. Yeah, I'm number 3. It's something I remember I've said.
Okay, so when you discuss, when you say in paragraph 60 that you made a reference to General Khan specifically and wanted to create the perception that I know of the plot against Major General Khan to have him dismissed. If you were engaging with the witness and it seems that you did in fact know of such a plot, there's more than just creating the perception that you know. If you were part of, if you were in discussions with the witness who was asked to fabricate allegations,
No, when I say I didn't know General Khan, indeed I didn't know General Khan. I knew him in this intelligence circle, but I also knew of this General Khan. It also came to the media that he was being given a notice of disciplinary hearing and so forth. I knew that he was going to be subjected to disciplinary hearing.
so how did you know about it? How, I mean, General Khan he's in KZN, is he stationed in KZN? Where is he?
No.
What is his position?
Someone called this Major General, but I think he's.
No, where is he stationed? In what division?
I cannot confirm it on.
So how did you become involved in this?
No, remember, here's a witness who says, talking to that other person, and this person brings this colonel I was with. Now, the colonel knows that who the work that I did, who am I? He knows, and he's also close to my handler. Now, the colonel cannot tell another colonel that if you give us this information, we'll give you promotion. He cannot do that. He had to get someone in neutral and come there and say, no, I can do this for you. That time it was me to give me that information. Now, after he told me, that's when I told my handler, and then we applied for these processes. So I didn't know, it was just a task.
No, sorry, I'm not sure I got the explanation. How you keep referring this person. It's not clear how you.
Man one is the witness.
No, this is prior to the recording because you
Yes.
must have obviously have known about this before you decided to record.
Yes.
Because there was a whole 25A that happened, I believe, before this recording took place, isn't it? That's what you told us earlier.
It was done.
The
in
25A
preparation.
was to record this.
Yes.
So prior to all of this happening, how did you get involved in this whole thing?
Like I said in intelligence circle, there's no way, how can I put this? Let me give it in this way. You remember when General Mokonas was talking, he said, I told him a head of intelligence in KZN was retiring in his statement. That's what he said. In the intelligence circle, you will know something. It's not, and I didn't even know the name of that head of intelligence. You will know something about someone. You will know there is a particular general. You'll know him, but not that you interact with him or you know the general. No, I didn't know him. But we heard that there was this truck passed somewhere. Some past years, and this particular general, obviously my handler knew this general. He'll talk about him, and the co-handler will talk about him. They know each other, but I'm not meeting with any general.
Are you saying your handler gets you involved in everything that he hears about without coming to you with a proper briefing about what this operation is about so that you can have proper background? Because now every time you talk about an investigation, it's I've heard, it's a this, it's a that. We don't get a sense of a proper briefing that will contextualize or that will give proper background to the investigations that you were conducted.
Yeah, obviously, Chairperson, if I have to do that, it means it will take very long to say it was Monday, we met 9 o'clock, he came with papers and he was trying to brief me. No, I'm giving you an information that you are able to comprehend. I'm saying if this handler comes to me and say, there is this information about so-and-so who wants to tell us something about a plot, but I got it from another kennel way. That time, I don't know that kennel. Then that kennel comes to me and say, yes, indeed, this man, he has something to do, but he wants something in return. He has something to tell us, but he wants something in return. All right? Now, can you play this role so that you can be the person who claims to be able to give him what you want? That's where I fit in. I don't need to know who's, because it's like now you ask me like about general. Let me give example about my handler. I don't know the name of his wife. I don't know his kids. I don't know anything about him, but I know he's my handler. I work with him. I don't go back, deep into those things.
So what made you bring up General Khan in your conversation with General Mkhwanazi? What is it that you, why did you discuss General Khan with him?
Oh, well,
What role did General Mkhwanazi play in all of this?
I don't know. Remember when General Mkhwanazi responds, I'll forward my handler and say, hey, Baba, now this man is saying 1, 2, 3. He'll give me a clue what to say. Then I'll just, sometimes I copy and paste. Sometimes I add something, but it must be in line with the instruction of the handler. If the handler say, if you remember the message, after I sent him the crime intelligence thing, I said, General Khan will brief you. But he didn't ask General Khan. That's how the mind works.
If there were disciplinary proceedings pending against General Khan in relation to whatever misconduct he might have committed, why did you see the need to go and play a role and go as far as participating in a recording to get closer to the event? Why did you participate in this?
A job is a job. Even if it was General Jumbo, if it was General whoever, if the task says that, let's say it was a colonel or whoever, I will still participate if there's a task that I'm able to do. Doesn't necessarily mean it's supposed to be General Khan for me to participate. You won't believe I was so surprised when I saw him. I thought they were referring to someone very huge. And I just saw, it was the first time I saw him. He was sitting in the car.
Okay, let's maybe briefly go through the recording and some of the discussions that you had in relation to General Khan. If I could just refer you to page 17. But before we do that, have you had any prior dealings with witness one, who is the person who was going to come and testify against General Khan? And what made you believe that he was credible enough to want to participate? Why is it that you could, just by him saying, I've been asked to fabricate facts, decide to go and get involved? Did you know him? And could you attest to his credibility?
Yeah, in operations, you don't necessarily go with the feeling of getting involved. Here's the man. I'm a witness against General so-and-so. I'm being told to fabricate lies to get him dismissed. I believe that it's a wake-up call alone. You will participate.
Okay, so witness one appears to have had quite a bit to say while you were talking to him about um, this disciplinary hearing which he was going to testify at. And some of the things that he says seems to be quite alarming. And I just maybe thought we could use this opportunity as well to maybe hear your views on it, because these are senior police officials talking about divisions within the police, and it seems to raise some red flags. So on page 17, you have the witness say TPCI is a cartel, and now my issue, I'm going to be a bit, the ANC and the minister, I don't know who is their people. Even if the minister can go back to them, they can open the system even tomorrow. Things that have happened. The minister, if he wants, he can go to you. I don't know what you've experienced. What does that mean? DPCI is a cartel.
Number one was giving his frustrations, and the reason he wanted a post, according to him, he qualified. That's why if you go to the other paragraph, he says he had qualified, but they didn't appoint him, and all those things have been closed. And then he said, no, even if the minister can go back to them, they can open the system even tomorrow. Things that have happened. The minister, if he wants, he can give that to you. I don't know what you have experienced. He's telling me how I must talk to the minister and see to it that he opened this opportunity for him so that he can be appointed.
The other thing that I've noticed about this particular witness is you mentioned the Rustenburg operation that happened, and that people were lying on the ground
Yes.
in Northwest. Now, this witness is also referring to this, and
Yeah.
it seems that it was his operation and not yours, because he's talking about management 1:10 in the morning, and he's talking about the firearms that were not verified.
Yes.
But in your statement, you say it's your operation.
Yes.
So
But
why is that?
if you check the statement, the first thing I said is I knew the person because I operated with him before.
Sorry?
If you check the statement, I did say I knew the person was there. From where we were reading, me and you, from the Matlanga statement, check it. I did mention I knew him because he operated before.
In paragraph 100, you talk about this. You talk about this, actually from paragraph 99 and 100 onwards. You say, I was part of the operation during 2024 where 15 suspects were apprehended and the firearms were seized.
Now, but prior to that, I don't have Matlanga.
But this is this guy's operation.
Chairperson, I'm trying to explain. Maybe because if we have Matlanga, then remember before we could reach where we are, we also touched on Matlanga.
Okay.
It is in the statement of Matlanga that I knew this person because we operated together before. It's there. It's not that it is a statement. And secondly, you just gave me an opportunity to say, did I know about it or what? I could have said, yes, I only knew about it. I operated with him before. And then part of the attachment, there is a arrest statement where he wrote about the operation and the docket and everything.
But why would you ask him in the reason for the release if you were part of this operation?
Yeah, because now I wanted this colonel to hear this thing because I also had a problem about it because he didn't know about it.
Where is witness one stationed, or would you be giving away too much information?
Where is what?
Where is witness one stationed? What is in which division is he?
Yeah, but it's exactly what I told you. Some information when you give a background to know the exact person.
Mm.
But it is there on the statement. I wish you could look at it without mentioning it is there. Even it is abbreviated. on that thing. And even in his station is there, in the statement on the annexures. I think is there.
Well, just if you look at the paragraph page 19 of the annexure bundle and the conversation around this particular operation, it seems that you were engaging with him and you were asking, are there firearms from security? It looks like you were hearing this for the first time, the manner in which you engage with this witness in relation to the events that happened.
Was leading him to tell the person I was with, because the guy is also from crime intelligence, and there was no way I could tell him this number 3. There was no way I could tell him about that particular operation. But if you get the statement from the arrest, they'll tell you of the person, the source, and you see the description of the source, and he's one of the people who can corroborate about that particular thing.
Where will we get that?
Kerry, he is available to corroborate that as to my involvement. I was not at the scene like I told you, but he can give you the exact.
So what was your role in this operation?
It's when you know the place, when you know the person who was complaining, because it was that operation is in my province, is where I come from. If some few police officers were complaining about these Samasamas, how they do their things.
So what was your role?
Is to tell him, if you are able to bring a manpower, come this side, meet this police person, and he has information, then they meet, they start talking, and they bring the manpower and arrest the people. That's the information we give. I was not on site, I was not there.
'23, I think this is where they start making reference to, where the witness starts making reference to the plot against General Khan. And he says, he refers to a Major General Kumalo.
Page 23.
Yeah, page 23.
And then was that?
So Major General Kumalo, who is Major General Kumalo and what was his role? Page 23 of the transcript of the bundle.
The General Kumalo is a Major General from the KZN, and according to the information that time, he was the employer rep in the case, in the hearing.
He was the employer representative.
That's correct.
Okay. And then he said that it was Major General Kumalo, or rather, I never spoke to this is what the witness says, I never spoke to you can't hear what he says. I was consulting with the Major General. He told me after consulting with us, he said we must get rid of Khan and I must give feedback about this. So is he saying that Major General Kumalo asked him to get rid of Khan? Is that what he's trying to say there?
I don't get to where you are now.
It's towards the bottom. It's the bottom. It starts with men 1. I never spoke.
Yes.
Do you see that?
I was consulting, yes. Yes, I can see that.
I was consulting with the Major General. He told me after consulting with us, he said we must get rid of Khan. Is that Major General Kumalo?
That's correct.
Okay. And so it continues on page 24, where he talks about crime intelligence and how it's not good there. But the plot continues on page 25, where you promise or you made undertakings that you're going to try and give him a promotion because he was asking for something.
And it's at the bottom also.
Yes, it's towards the bottom. It says, but this is coming from Mentu. Write an email to the minister to say this is what happened. I've got a grievance, this issue. I'm aggrieved because of X, Y, Z, and I'm requesting your assistance in my matter. He will sort the rest out for you. What does that mean?
Yeah, I read the email to the minister to say this is what happened. No. Now, if you check prior in above page 25, there's box number main 3, main 1, main 3, main 1. On main 1 again, he said, what's in for me? I suffered, you know, I've been a lieutenant colonel for 15 years. But now, no, but we will make a deal. I know 16 years. I can make deal for you tomorrow. You know, the deal is what I want. Do you remember the grievance for not being appointed for the post here? This is where I said he has also applied for the post. He was not appointed, and the minister can reopen that, change that job for him and he get appointed. So here, that's when I was advised to write the email about that grievance so that we can get the minister to sort him out.
And was this something that the minister was in fact aware of?
No.
Did you engage the minister about this?
No, there's no way he can engage him. In fact, even the minister, when he saw this, he couldn't believe. He was very angry.
Did the minister see it?
After Madlanga, yes.
Did you get in touch with the minister to discuss this?
No.
He said he was very angry.
They were very, very angry. I heard from Ngabinde when he said, how do you do all these things? And it's unfortunate, I can tell you, should there be another operation having the name of anyone, if it brings what can save the country or anyone from being done anything to, I can do it again.
Okay. Now on page 29 to page 30.
Thank you, Chair. I think what the evidence leader has asked the witness, the answer is not clear. Can you please clarify for us? For me, I don't hear you at all. The answer is something else.
Which question, Chair?
Can
Can
you
you
repeat that, please?
can the evidence leader repeat the question?
I think I might have asked more than one question, but the questions was really about in the transcript, it says that an email will be sent to the minister will work something out. And I asked you whether the minister was aware of this. And Mr. Mogotsi said no. And he said the minister was angry when the minister learned about this. So I then asked, did he engage with the minister after he appeared before the Madlanga Commission?
No, I never engaged with the minister. I'm saying Cedric Kabinde did tell me, but it's not because of the Adhoc or the Madlanga. I cannot call Comrade Senzon. I believe if there's anything that he really needs to talk to me about, I believe he can still call me. It is because of how things are. Everyone is doing whatever he's doing, but he did not like, Ngabinde told me, he did not like to see his name being used in operations that are like this. He told me.
Okay, at that point, let's take a break for 30 minutes. We'll come back, members, at 1:30. House is adjourned.